Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus number 3. Really cool front art right here. I forget who this is. I think his name is... What's the front artist's name? Oh man, they won't even tell you. Whatever. Anyway, this video is X-Men 160. And this series right here, I've noticed that series seem to do better than individual videos. I'm still going to do individual videos just for fun here and there. But I've noticed that series tend to be more interesting and tend to draw more people. So I think I'm going to keep doing it. In this case, this series is called Character Origins Magik. And we're going to start, since the New Mutants trailer came out, I watched it, and it kind of seemed really cheap and cheesy. I don't know, I really love the New Mutants. I really don't want a New Mutants movie, because I think it's really going to suck, personally. But this one is the origins of the New Mutants character Magik, Illyana Rasputin, Colossus' little sister. And it starts with 160, which is how the character sort of begins. So here it's Chutes and Ladders. This is by Chris Claremont, Brent Anderson on pencils, Bob Wiacek on inks, and Luis Jones, editor, Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. So we go here. The X-Men are practicing. Around this time, the mansion was destroyed, so they're on like Magneto's island fortress, and that's their new home right now. And here, as they're practicing, we have a nefarious individual narrating in the background, basically doing the Jim Shooter classic of explaining all the characters as he's sort of analyzing them through narration. Right? This is classic techniques right here. We get exercise. We get a fastball special. Wolverine kind of cannonballs right into Storm. Pretty interesting art by Brent Anderson. And then we get the real sort of the MacGuffin of the story. But this character Illyana was actually introduced many issues ago as Peter's little sister, and sort of a fun little companion to Kitty Pryde as well. And here the dark figure is sort of tempting Illyana to come toward him. And is that Fozzie the Bear? Holy shit, that's a Muppet. I didn't even realize that when I was watching. So we go over, Kitty follows her, trying to get her to come back, and then before she knows it, she's trapped and teleported to some other realm. The X-Men are kind of talking to each other. This is sort of the aftermath of a previous issue where Storm becomes a vampire. Yeah, I know, right? Freaking old X-Men are like some of the craziest stories you've ever read, and they're actually really good too. Yeah, if you wanted to read that, go ahead and read the previous issue. It's actually really good. The X-Men versus Dracula. And so she's going off. She's bathing herself. Necessary Storm, somewhat naked in a comic. These guys were freaking masters back in the day. They knew what people wanted in a comic. So they just noticed that Kitty's missing, and they're like, okay, let's go follow her and figure out what the heck's going on, because Illyana's missing too, and they all get transported now. And Kitty's in the dark. She's trying to figure out where she's at, and then she runs into Nightcrawler, and she's like, oh, okay, hey, what's up, Kurt? It's good to see you. I'm kind of don't know where the heck I'm at. And then Nightcrawler tries to feel up Kitty, and you get the realization that we're not in Kansas anymore. So here we get introduced to Belasco. Belasco is the sorcerer, demon ruler of Limbo, which is where our heroes are located, and they're all transported at different times. You get Colossus and Storm are together. Storm finds an armlet, puts it on. And then you get some freaking tentacle porn before tentacle porn, right? This is 1982. So, yeah, Japan did not do it first. So, Colossus gets transported. Storm is left to herself, and all of a sudden she gains all the powers of the X-Men, is able to escape miraculously. You get a scene here. Kitty's been captured by Belasco. and you get the introduction of this character, Sim, who becomes very important later to the character Magik. He's basically a demon brute. And you see, in this world, the X-Men have already been either defeated or killed by Belasco. So this is Wolverine's corpse. You see Sim basically picking his teeth like a toothpick right here. He's showing his amazing magical powers right here. It's funny, I can review a Chris Claremont issue, and I can't even come close to really ruining anybody rereading this because there's just so much packed into one issue. Look at him. He pulls out her skeleton right here and basically tells her, this is how freaking powerful I am. And gives this token right here, this amulet to Illyana, which is really important later on. So Nightcrawler notices, he's starting to realize something's weird going on, but he's seeing, he sees Wolverine dead. He sees Kitty with her skeleton pulled out. And he's like, all right, I'm going to get revenge on you, you son of a bitch. And Storm finally awakens, again, half naked, because, yes, 1980s. And she goes for a dive. She finds out her costume has been ruined. She puts on these new clothes, determines that whoever helped her out of her, almost hentai special is a woman. So she takes her clothing to fly off and find her friends. Kurt has a clone fight right here, and they go at it, and it appears that Kurt's been defeated by Belasco's enslaved Nightcrawler. And then this is really freaking cool. Check this out. So Wolverine's walking around trying to find the scent of all of his companions, right? And he's weirded out because there's everybody's scent, and it feels like they've been there for a long time, and he's like, he doesn't get it. And then he runs into this. This is Colossus with his, totally killed, his chest totally caved in, and Logan's like, oh, this can't be. How is this possible? And Sim shows up and starts beating the crap out of Logan. And oh man, and Sim's about ready to freaking stomp him out, and he disappears. And the real Colossus shows up, and they start fighting. And Colossus finds out very quickly that Sim's pretty freaking tough, like a really tough demon. And they go at it, but he gets overpowered very quickly until, this is great right here, Shink. Wolverine shows up again and look at this. Oh man, dude, this is visceral. He's I'm almost certain that Brent Anderson wanted to show more, but they were probably Claremont and a lot of his artists were a little more reserved in showing heavy violence or overly adult stuff. They always kind of walked the line a little bit. Because this was still, in their minds, stories written for kids to a degree, right? So Wolverine's about to get hurled or ripped in half. Colossus comes to help him, kicks him into a teleportation stone, and then they all get teleported to where Belasco's at. And then you find out that Kurt didn't lose; he actually defeated Belasco's Nightcrawler and stole his clothes to trick Belasco. Then Storm shows up. Our heroes are all together, and Belasco has to flee. Storm's about ready to chase after him, and then they find out who this lady is that helped Storm earlier. It's Storm. It's Aurora, but she's much, much older now. And they find out what's going on. They're in limbo. The X-Men in the past came to try to save Illyana and defeat Belasco, but they all failed. They failed terribly. And most of them either died or were defeated or outcast like Storm. So Storm now is a sorcerer supreme, kind of like Doctor Strange. She's able to restore Kitty Pryde. And this is really cool. This is a 2-panel story. Demon shows up, Wolverine claws out. Seconds later, Wolverine claws in. He freaking killed the demon off panel. That's pretty crazy. So Old Storm tells him, no, don't fight. Get out of here. Save yourselves. You are in the right timeline. In our timeline, we lost, and you guys need to leave while you still can, right? And this is pretty interesting. So she still has Fozzie the Bear, right? And Storm tries to hold back all of Belasco's demons. Modern day Storm somehow finds out how to make a spell to restore everyone back. You get some pretty funny dialogue from Kitty and Wolverine. Belasco is able to reach into this spell and grab Illyana, Fozzie the bear is lost too. Sorry, Fozzie. Waka waka. and Kitty grabs on the other side of Illyana, and they get into a tug of war in between this portal. And when Kitty pulls Illyana out, she's aged 7 years. Pretty freaking crazy. And this also explains the discrepancy between Illyana in the very, very early 70s comics and the New Mutants now. So this story, first off, a lot of crap happens, and second off, it explains a lot of things that go on later on building into the New Mutants. Really awesome issue, by the way. This is a great single story issue. And here, Peter's kind of lamenting all this. You get a lot of really great dialogue from Peter. Peter's always, as a character, Colossus is always conflicted about leaving Russia and joining the X-Men. And this is like a great piece of dialogue from, my friend, sometimes I wish I had never heard of Charles Xavier or the X-Men. Very, very interesting. This is one of the character development points that Chris Claremont uses with Colossus throughout his run on the X-Men. You have, so he goes over and wakes up Illyana. They kind of talk about it. And he watches over her, and you get this little fun facet for future issues. It's the amulet that Belasco gave to her, and the explanation of the bloodstones in the background. This is the narration by Belasco. And this is great right here. Belasco in the background with the ripped up Fozzie the Bear doll that she left behind. Anyhow, this video went on longer than usual just because I'm narrating a Chris Claremont issue, which usually takes a lot. But it's great. It's an explanation for Illyana the character, Peter's sister, and what happened to her that made her age enough to be at the same age as a lot of the New Mutant characters, and also the source later of her powers. So after this issue, I'm going to go into the Magik miniseries with Chris Claremont. Really, really good stories. Also really thick issues. Super thick writing in those issues. So I'm going to have to kind of think about how I'm going to keep it down and not make it too long of a video. Anyway, I didn't want to go too much into this. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. If you got a comment on this issue of Uncanny X-Men or the character Magik, leave them down below. And by the way, for those of you who don't know yet, I do have special videos only on BitChute. In particular, Berserk will only be on BitChute due to the graphic nature of that comic, or manga, I should say. So if you're a Berserk fan, please check my BitChute stuff. You'll be able to find it there. Make sure you turn off the not safe for work filter. And I will see you next time.